To imagine a week in Ireland, cherished memories, all because a couple of friends decided to save a little bit of cash each month during the COVID-19 lockdowns. Greg and I thought we'd have a nice night out on the town. We never imagined we'd be able to finance a trip across the globe. But before we could make it there, I had to drive from Cincinnati to Chicago. I knew we were in for a bit of Irish luck when a rainbow appeared over our plane before takeoff. About 7 hours in the sky finally got us into Ireland, and once we arrived, we immediately began exploring Dublin City. Our first stop was of course a pub, the Boar's Head. Then we spent several days exploring shops, pubs, and public spaces. Because of COVID, we didn't get to see a traditional Irish music session, but we did get to join in a chorus of Hey Jude at legendary Temple Bar. After our first night in Dublin, we boarded a bus the next morning for a trip to the West Coast. This art display has a sister piece in Indianapolis, our first connection to home.
How is everybody doing this morning? Very early in the morning. My name is Kevin, and here beside me we have Nicholas, and we'll be with you guys for the whole day today. Now we're onto O'Connell Street, and we're passing by the big spire here, this Millennium Spire. And the big building behind it with the columns is the General Post Office, the GPO. That's where the rebels used as a headquarters during the 1916 Easter Rising.
Despite the early start and the jet lag, I was glad to have seen a beautiful Irish sunrise over the misty countryside. My second connection to home was driving through the wind farms. My favorite part of the drive to Chicago was going through the wind farms just north of Lafayette.
So the Vikings had a trading camp here at the location of Bunratty Castle. But originally, the first castle was built there in the year 1250 by the Normans in the year 1169.
Our first stop that morning was at a travel plaza, or gas station, in Moneygall in County Offaly. Barack Obama's great-great-great-grandfather was from the area, and the first couple paid a visit in 2011. When the plaza opened in 2014, they named it in his honor. From there, we were off the motorway and onto the back roads of Ireland. It was harrowing to watch Nicholas expertly maneuver our giant coach through the narrow streets and towns as we made our way to the cliffs of Moher. We had about 90 minutes to explore the cliffs, enjoy the busker music, and do a bit of shopping. Back on the road, this time heading to the Burrens in County Clare. The Burrens is made up of glacial aral limestone and has the highest land temperature in all of Ireland. We only had about 15 minutes at the Burrens. Then it was time to get on the bus to visit Kilmachdough Abbey, a 7th century monastic site located in County Galway. Kilmachdough Abbey is still being used as an active graveyard. It was wild to see the ancient ruins next to stones with dates in the 21st century. Once again, back on the bus, this time headed for Galway City. We had limited time in Galway, so I didn't take much video. After about an hour, we headed back to Dublin for the night.
The view from my room has been pushing and shoving. I stand alone, connect nothing with nothing.
The next day, we spent 4 hours touring Guinness and enjoyed a few pints while we were there. We figured we better get it from the source while we had the chance.
Walls of caves, if I only knew now what words to say. Now and then you could try to sell your soul just to say goodbye.
'Cause I know when you're here, there's nothing that I fear. And I know when you're there, it's too far for you to care.
View from my room has been pushing and shoving. I stand alone, connect nothing with nothing. I don't see faces, all shapes are blurred, but there's darkness now where you once were.
I left you a message through walls of caves. If I only knew now what words to say. Now and then you could try to sell your soul just to say goodbye.
'Cause I know when you're here, there's nothing that I fear. And I know when you're there, it's too far for you to care. 'Cause I know when you're here, there's nothing that I fear. And I know when you're there, it's too far for you to care.
pushing and shoving.
On day 4, we visited Trinity College and the Book of Kells, an illuminated manuscript from the 9th century containing the 4 Gospels of the New Testament. Photography and video of the book were not allowed. However, we did spend a lot of time in the Long Room, a working library since 1792 and home to more than 200,000 books.
Don't overthink anything. If there's no rain, go outside and play. You hear me, but you're not listening. Sometimes the devil can get in your head. Be strong enough to put him to bed. Imagine what you can be having to. Don't let the past determine
This was the afternoon Greg and I went our separate ways. He was ready to find a park and do some riding, whereas I jumped on the Dublin Area Rapid Transit, or DART, to Maynooth, a country town about 45 minutes away in County Kildare.
One day you'll grin and you'll sit on your throne. You won't be the first to cast the and they'll shape your life, just let it in. Do all you can and all from within. Who you are, or who you'll be, where you're going to and who you'll see. And don't let the past change anything about you. So carpe diem. Who you are, who you'll be. Who you
After about 7 miles of walking and a couple of hours at O'Neill's pub, it was time to catch my train back to Dublin. And there it goes. Luckily, I only had to wait about 10 minutes for the next one. I'm now in Howth on my second to last day here in Ireland, and I have to say I've enjoyed this trip thoroughly, but it's not quite what I expected it to be. You know, Dublin was great. It's a city. After a couple of days of doing touristy things, I was ready to get out to the country. The sights here are amazing. It's much more coastal. Of course, I knew Ireland had coasts, but I was expecting to see much more of the rolling hills and the sheep. But these coastlines are absolutely beautiful with the heather and the cliffs. I expected to be doing a lot of walking on this trip. I didn't expect to be doing this much. I've actually gotten dirty. I've gotten dusty. My shoes are covered in dust, and I've been down on the ground getting shots. And I just, I don't know, I feel, you know, having the dirt of Ireland on and about me as kind of a sense of accomplishment about it.
To pluck wild mountain thyme all around
When I first got up here to this cliffside and saw these amazing views, my muse came to me. I really felt like I'm finally seeing what I wanted to see when we booked this trip.
All the flowers of the mountain, will ya go, lassie, go? And we'll all go together to pluck wild mountain thyme, all around the blooming heather. Will ya go, lassie, go? If my true love she were gone, I would surely find another where wild mountain thyme grows around the blooming heather.
After a wonderful day solo in Howth, Greg and I spent our last full day in Ireland in Bray, about an hour north up the coast from Dublin City. While he spent the day writing letters back home, I decided it would be in my best interest to climb up 791 feet to the top of Bray Head.
All around the blooming heather, will ya go, lassie, go? Oh, the summer time is coming, and the trees are sweetly blooming, and the wild mountain thyme grows around the blooming heather. Will ya go, lassie, go? And we'll all go together to pluck wild.
I've been hiking to the top of this hill, mountain, whatever they would consider this in Bray, to see a big cross, and I've gone through a lot of different climates. I've been very cold, I've been very hot, and very windy. There's a lot of heather. I started out at coastal sea line, and now I'm deep in a forest. I've seen green rolling hills and livestock. I've seen suburbs. This little place seems to have it all. And as I go through here, as silly as it sounds, these woods, this forest, is different from the ones at home. It's greener, lusher, and I can see where the stories of the fairies would come from. A final ride on the Dart, a final dinner in Dublin City, and we headed to the airport the next day to fly back to Chicago.
Farewell to old Ireland, goodbye to you, Balustrade. No time to look back, facing the wind, fighting the waves. May heaven protect.
Ireland is going to haunt me. It's a dream of a lost loved one. It's cherished memories but out of reach. But unlike a lost loved one, I can one day visit Ireland again. This trip has been indescribable, and this video doesn't do it justice. I feel energized, and I feel creative in ways that I haven't in a long time, and I hope not to lose that.
And